Last thing I wanted to follow up with was, we were looking at this earlier. This, all of these is advice from Diana Olick, which is a CNBC journalist, speaking on the housing market. So if you go back 7 years to October 2015, she is basically telling you to rent. This is maybe not her headline, but the message here is to rent, not to buy, because the market is crashing, is what all these headlines are leading to. So Chris and I just wanted to give you a rundown.
Oh man, this fires me up for sure.
Yeah, just give you a rundown. If you had been listening to Ms. Olick's advice over the last 7 years, how much money you have lost, and most likely how much money she's made owning rental properties, most likely. But back in October, had you bought a house prior to October 2015, let's say if you bought a house in 2014, October for $300,000, that home after 1 year would have been valued at $315 with that year's 5.1% home appreciation. She is saying a bubble larger than 2006 was happening. So with that headline, she's encouraging you not to buy because the market's crashing and you're going to lose your money. But if you listen to her, you lost $15,000 and your landlord paid $15,000 more, or paid off probably that much toward their mortgage.
Yep.
August 2016, she's saying we are in a new housing bubble. And that same home you had bought in 2014 is now worth, what is that, Chris?
332. Yeah,
332 with the 5.4% appreciation. She continues in November. Home ownership doesn't build wealth. Study finds.
Yeah.
All while this home you bought in 2014 for $300,000 is now over $350,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then in December of 2019, just
18.
prior to,
oh yeah, you skipped it.
I'm jumping down because it's just the same.
But it's just, man, it's so crazy.
The housing market is about to shift in a bad way for buyers. December 2019, a few months before COVID, she is saying next year will be hard on the housing market, especially in these big cities. And we all know what has happened since December of 2019 or 2020. Yep. The housing market's gone crazy. She's still telling you to rent. That home you paid $300,000 for is now worth $424,000. And I'm sorry, but $124,000 of that is wealth. Where yep. She is saying there's a study finds in 2017 that it doesn't build wealth. And then finally, July 2021, housing boom is over as new home sales fall to pandemic low. And that home you bought 7 years ago is now worth over $500,000. That is assets and wealth for your family, not for a landlord's family. So if you add all of this up over the course of 7 years, you would have had 55.7% appreciation on your $300,000 home, equaling a $209,000 appreciation in that asset, which allows you the ability to do lots of other things. You are building wealth. It's generational this way. Yeah. So, and really the point here, I believe is, Chris and I want you, we come every week with the facts, with the data. There's a ton of news out there. If you're listening to the wrong news, it can be very costly for you and your family. In this instance, we just showed you, it could have cost you $209,000 over the last 7 years. What would you like to add to that, Chris?
No, I mean, that's just, I like to think about the just again, from a financial perspective, right? that ultimately you're building equity, right? Is what's going on in those scenarios. So if you had, let's say that you have, you're paying on high interest credit cards, car loan, whatever it is, that's preventing you from being able to tap into the equity, right? Or not having a home, not having purchased a home, you have nothing to tap into, right? So if you would have owned that home, credit cards got out of control due to COVID, or there's, man, I talk to customers all the time. The ones that own homes were able to take equity out of the home, pay off high interest debt, and ultimately free up cash flow. Now, if you don't own a home and you don't have an asset like that that you can borrow against, you don't have that option, right? So you're ultimately going to be paying high interest over a course of however many years to to try and get out from under those the high interest credit cards or whatever it is. And we've helped several families over the last couple of years, especially with equity building as rapidly as it did, to be able to pull out some of that equity, pay off your high interest debt, and now they're in a much better financial position, right? And ultimately, if you don't have an asset like that, then unfortunately it's not an option. So